I think this is a great opportunity for us to move to the second topic, which there's some overlap with what we discussed right now, and that is the shakeup at CBS. Basically, the entire operation has been revolutionized in a matter of days, and I want to talk about what is driving that exactly. Well, new ownership is the answer. David Ellison is now at the helm of CBS News, and he's hired Barry Weiss, who is, she describes herself as a diehard Zionist. She's going hard and firing a lot of people. In fact, there are some reporters alleging that there's racial bias. I don't know if that's true, but one CBS News staffer has described the cuts as a bloodbath. Another person who said that the race and culture unit was gutted. He also pointed out that their streaming services have been gutted as well, which is very interesting because in the age of streaming, don't you think that you would invest more resources into it instead of pulling back? Yeah. So we'd love to get your ladies' thoughts on what exactly is going on here. And just one last thing, Barry Weiss apparently fired a journalist who exposed atrocities in Gaza. So Anna, you have been very well-versed on this issue. We'd love to hear your take on what exactly is going on in one of the premier flagships of the American media.
By the way, I just want to interject before Anna answers. There's no proof that Barry made that call to fire her.
She's the head of news at CBS.
But she didn't make a call
the
to
buck
fire her.
stops
Isn't
with her.
she? That's like saying, oh, America bombed a country, but we don't know.
Because a lot of the things people are putting on Barry now were decisions that were made before she came in.
Who's in charge right now?
Right now it's Barry Weiss, but a lot of the decision makings that are taking place now.
Okay, so
getting rid of woke
Barry
news.
Weiss was specifically, first of all, the Free Press, which has a non-existent YouTube page, and has a decent subscriber base. We don't know what percentage of those subscribers are paying subscribers, but nonetheless, David Ellison purchased the Free Press for $150 million. Obviously, that's a ridiculous valuation. And according to the Financial Times, which broke this story when it first was reported, Ellison was interested in Barry Weiss specifically because of her pro-Israel stance. So right off the bat, there is clear reporting indicating that her publication is being purchased and she's being brought on to CBS specifically because of her bias. And the thing is, it's fine to have a bias. It's not okay to insert that bias into what's supposed to be straight news reporting. I do commentary, I do opinion. It's obvious I'm doing opinion, but the facts are the facts. And getting rid of a specific journalist because she is exposing atrocities, whether it be in Gaza or any other country, I don't really care, I think is a black mark on CBS now. And so look, CBS has been corporate media, and I don't think they've done a fantastic job in every case, even prior to bringing Barry Weiss on. But now I don't trust their foreign policy reporting at all. I'll never read their foreign policy reporting as long as she's the head of news there and trust anything that they're saying, because she has such a significant bias that already has played out in the hiring and firing decisions at CBS.
So I want to kind of piggyback on this because I know you were mentioning the DEI angle to all of this and the firings of those, but I also want to say that Page Six actually did a story and they're alleging that her security each day costs about $10,000, which is crazy. If
CBS is paying for that?
They're paying for that.
Wow.
But that's kind of insane given the fact that they are doing these firings. This is according to Page Six. The sources that they've spoken to say that it costs $10,000. She's got about 8 security guards who follow her around everywhere. And it's because they're saying it's because of her pro-Israel stance on a lot of this and because she's a Zionist. And that's the reason why. That's according to this report again. That's Page 6. But the DEI angle to this, I know there's a lot of people out there claiming that they're firing individuals and they're also getting rid of...
I'm not sure if that's true. I'm just saying that.
I've seen the videos and they're... So there were so many people when we started this whole DEI movement who were passed up on jobs, specifically white men, and when they were able to bring other people in. And I never thought that was okay because that was obviously discrimination, but nobody ever argued. Instead of us knowing about who you are, what your race is, let's just hand over our resumes without any names on it, have an ID number on it.
I love that idea.
They never
I think
argued
that's
for that.
so smart.
Absolutely.
I don't think anyone should be hired based on their ethnicity, their religion, their race. I think we need to have like blind hiring, like the way that you just described. Because look, journalism is really important for a functioning democracy, and you need actual seasoned journalists who know how to do the job, who actually want to hold true or speak truth to power, right? And report the facts as they are, not, make the facts or twist the facts in a direction that's favorable to their own political views.
And that's why I'm so happy that President Trump has revived the idea of a meritocracy, you know? And I think, frankly, a lot of the people who are hurt the most by affirmative action are the black and brown people who got there because of the strength of their own resume. Because now everyone's looking at them askance saying, oh, do you actually deserve that position? But they know they earned that place. And actually, another thing I want to say is that CBS is a CBS of Walter Cronkite, who is a legend in American journalism. And for Barry Weiss, and I also, as a result of one of my Her Take segments, someone actually called to threaten me.
I mean, someone sicked their dog at me and my dog one morning because they don't like my commentary on Israel. So,
Right.
no one spends $10,000 on my security. I don't spend any money on security. And it's just,
But what
I think
I mean
Barry
is,
Weiss
like-
is being a little too paranoid here.
Yeah, but they use Barry Weiss's name to threaten me.
Yeah.
As though I should care what somebody at CBS thinks of my commentary about American foreign policy. But what I'm saying is, it really undermines Americans' trust in legacy media.
Yes.
And that is why people like Patrick Bet-David here at Valuetainment and other independent media, they are getting so much attention. Because they know, Patrick doesn't have sponsors.
Well, Patrick has people on his program regularly that I know he disagrees with, vehemently so.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he's had Benjamin Netanyahu on and Nick Fuentes on his show. And to me, that is evidence of someone who's willing to sit down and have conversations or interview everyone, regardless of what his own political leanings are. I think that is an important signal to put out into the world. And again, look, I'm going to be fair to Barry Weiss because I used to be subscribed to the Free Press because they have some fantastic journalism, as long as it's not on the topic of Israel, to be honest with you. And it sucks because it leaves a black mark on her reputation. I know she's capable of publishing really good work, but when you let your bias infiltrate the decision-making, it's going to essentially discredit the entire organization that you're working for.
I want to step in here. I think everyone is really being dramatic about this whole thing. I know plenty of people running companies whose journalists don't agree with them, and we see this every single day of our lives that these pieces still get published. Barry Weiss, I don't know if you guys remember, it was like 2 weeks ago, sent a very Elon Doge type email, I want to see what everyone's working on, and everyone essentially spit on her face. And nobody got fired for that. She's getting rid of the woke DEI
Well, they're
department.
unionized, that's why.
Okay, well, it doesn't matter. My point is that they can still publish whatever they want.
Can you show me a single anti-Israel piece from the Free Press?
Well, we're talking about CBS now. Okay. It's a different game completely.
Well, she was just there for the past...
I understand, and that was her company. Now she's being tapped in as a CEO to a new
I'm not going to
company.
let you bypass my question because she's been there for she created it, I think it was 2021. If you can present to me just one piece that was anti-Israel published by the Free
There
Press.
were none. Okay?
Okay.
I'm talking about now CBS, which is more legacy,
She's
more
been there for
mainstream.
4 days, so I understand.
She's been there for a little bit more than that, but I think you're deliberately missing my point just to interject
Do you
here.
think she's going to allow the publishing of critical stories that are critical of
I think
Israel?
she will.
Okay.
Because to me, first of all, she's left-leaning, and I think you saying that now her reputation is stained because she has a bias towards Israel.
Yeah.
Everyone does. You're either pro or you're against. So you could make that same argument for literally every single company. And my point is, I know so many news organizations, Fox News included, CNN included, where sometimes the journalism doesn't match up, where you're like, huh, CNN wrote that, or Fox wrote that, or Times of Israel was the one who started this whole stupid $7,000 influencers thing. So my point is, Barry, being a staunch Zionist, who's still very, very left-leaning to me, isn't going to ruin the organization because she's a Zionist? I'm so confused.
One of her first decisions was, it was kind of hilarious because it had no viewership. One of her first decisions as the head of news, what is it called? The actual title, I'm forgetting right now, not editor-in-chief. Anyway, whatever. The head of the news division.
News director?
News director, I don't remember exactly. But basically she's the top honcho when it comes to making decisions about their news division. And one of the first things she did is put together a panel with Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice to talk about foreign policy. It got no viewership because no one cares what Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice is a freaking dinosaur from the Bush era. You know what I'm saying? And it's why do we need to hear what a bunch of neocons have to say?
Another point that I want to mention is the fact that David and Larry Ellison are not just moving into CBS, they're also making inroads into CNN, HBO, TikTok, and other media outlets. And I think it's a question worth considering. is it safe to have all these important media behemoths in the hands of just one man?
No,
what do you think?
But it's always been that way, I feel like, okay? So I actually wanted to bring this up because it's it's on topic with why I don't trust any outlet at this point, but I also like to know what their angle is on stories. So I like to know if they have bias before I actually read into their stories. Many people probably aren't familiar with this, but back during the COVID pandemic, I was working at Fox at the time. And when I got there, I was forced out because they wanted me to comply with the New York City vaccine mandate. And I was very tough on that. And I said I was not going to take it at all. And so they threatened to put me on unpaid leave. There were shows that I was producing for where there was a massive chunk of an interview. Peter Navarro was on our show. And they completely removed the part where he's just telling young people, if you're young and healthy, don't take the vaccine because we don't know the long-term effects. And I didn't understand why they were so bent on getting that part out of the interview. And then the Blaze did a FOIA request, and they found out that this is according to them back in 2022, that Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, New York Post, the Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, all of the Newsmax, BuzzFeed, all of these are listed in this article. They all took money from HHS to promote the vaccines, but never actually, here's
They
the
took
article.
money from HHS?
HHS, yeah.
That's super unethical.
Well,
like, that's
and no one
crazy.
disclosed that, and that's why when I was there, we were only allowed to talk about it positively. Now they're all being critical of the vaccines, and they're saying the things that they should have said a long time ago that we knew for a fact. But I was sitting in those editorial meetings, and when I pitched something about possibly the damages that could be done by taking this, they didn't have any data on this, and I kept saying that. It never made it to air. So here's my thing. A lot of times during these editorial meetings, during these whatever they do in the print side of things get shut down pretty quickly based on their own bias, and you wouldn't even know this as an audience member.
Who reported that?
This is the Blaze. So if you go on their website, you just simply search exclusive. The federal government paid hundreds of dollars media companies to advertise the COVID vaccines while those same outlets provided positive coverage of the vaccines.
So were these ads by Pfizer and Moderna?
I never saw these ads running on the network itself. I could just tell you that based on my experience, that these were shut down. Anytime we had someone on who might be a little bit combative with the vaccine itself, they just were not allowed on air.
I just remember that era being kind of scary to be someone in the media who wanted to ask questions, because the second you'd ask a question, you'd get smeared as someone who's like a vaccine denialist or whatever. Anyway, and that's not a healthy environment to do journalism in at all. Like, you should be able to ask questions, and you shouldn't be shut down by your editor.
Yeah, that's why I left.
You bring up such an important point. Thank you so much for shedding light on that, because it wasn't just legacy media, though. It was social media writ large. People were just being deplatformed by Facebook, Twitter at the time, and just for saying, maybe we should look into
the Wuhan lab,
exactly.
For instance. And now it turns out, it's very likely the COVID vaccine was a lab leak.
Exactly. And to even say that was human manufactured or it was not from a food wet market.
Yeah, they went after everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that is not okay. So for Democrats to say that we believe in free speech, we want to hold Trump accountable, these are the very same people who destroyed lives over it for even saying that shutdowns are not okay.
Right.
Yeah, it's pretty insane that this even happened in the first place. And so many people have gotten away with this. I know everyone was like, oh, Pfizer's probably pouring a bunch of money into these networks. I haven't seen, during the time, I didn't see Pfizer pouring in the money. I knew that they were a top advertiser for Fox.
They are,
Yeah, but at the time when it came to pushing the jabs, this was heavily done by our government. We have all the FOIA information to prove it. But the problem, too, is HHS, when we asked specifically what the exact dollar amount was given to the media outlets, although we know there was something like about $100 million allocated, we don't know how much these outlets actually took in.
$100 million.
Yeah, and that was due to the funding bills for COVID, all of
You would think that there would be more transparency now, right?
I'm still suing over simple things. I mean, I want to know how illegal aliens were boarding flights and what documents they had to present with, because they don't have driver's licenses. They didn't have photo IDs.
Oh, that's a good point.
And they didn't want to tell me. They ignored me. I had to sue. And I actually found out that the Biden administration was allowing TSA agents to use DHS documents for convicted sex offenders, you could just say. So it had them lay out a commitment that they were going to register as a sex offender when they got to wherever they were going to get, that they had to join in some reform programs. I mean, I publish it on my independentnewsroom.com outlet. It is there. This is what they were hiding from us. They were allowing people we didn't know who they were to fly anywhere in our country.
That's amazing. Insane.
I can't believe we lived through that.
I had to sue for that, yeah.
It just feels very dystopian.
Yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Lindy Li. If you like this clip, please go to YouTube, look for her take, and subscribe. You won't regret it.